Great, Kay. Am I on there, Cal? You guys can hear? Thank you very much there, Dave. Yeah, that's a flashback. Every drop counts. You know, one of our neighbors went and saw the show in her grade 5 class, and she came back, and her mom and dad, and he's like, yeah, Harold and Chris were on a movie. Well, how'd they do? They better keep their day jobs, she said. so it was a kind of a funny one, but it was a lot of fun too, and I'm happy to participate. So thank you very much again for the introduction. Really happy to be here and part of Agility. I think it's a great program. I love seeing the collaboration with the university and the college and industry, right? And from industry, I say I'm an advocate. We are advocates for agriculture in general. It is a bit of the backbone of what Southern Alberta is, and there's lots of potential to work together. So excited to be here, share our story, and I'll go from there. So turn the mouse on. Technology talk. Okay, there we go. I better see, or I'll go. So, with that, I think happy November. I like starting this off and putting a little bit of context to agriculture. So, we've had a fantastic year. It's been an interesting November. Rain, snow, thunder, blizzard, ice, and beautiful days. At the same time, we have our crops in the bin in Southern Alberta. We've had a wonderful fall. Potatoes are safe and sound and in good shape. So, put it in context. There we are. So, a little bit of history. Okay. I don't have control of the mouse of that. So, family by the numbers. Harold and I are 4th generation farmers right now. Mom and Dad are both supporting us in the crowd, have been 3rd generation, and we have sister Karen here as well. So by the numbers, we have a bunch of grandkids, and we include our employees in our farm family. So we have right now 12 full-time people that work on the farm outside ourselves, 11 seasonal that are here with us all spring, summer, and fall, and then 17 harvest helpers. In 2015, we only had 2 new people help us for harvest from the previous year. So very little turnover, great families returning, and a lot of fun out there. So we also have an extended family, and you know, our Potato Growers Association, the Industry Association. We've done some work with the universities. Here's your nice president, Dr. Mike, doing an announcement out at the potato domes, which are our home, and lots of work in the classroom and sharing, and Harold will expand on the Nuffield, some collaboration with the college as well. So we consider that all our extended family. Farming is first and foremost what we do. So farmers always have to show pictures of tractors getting stuck, so there's ours. And some whites and sunflowers and some potatoes. So potatoes is certainly our big piece. Can I just use it with this one? Okay, Harold, you're up.
Okay. Oh, I'm on. That's good. Okay, first off, I'd like to start out by saying we feel we are very rich because we have a family and everybody loves each other. We live in a great community and a great country. Agriculture is this is a great place to be a farmer as well. We have the irrigation coming off the east coast of the east slope of the Rockies from all the snow melt, and irrigation drives everything that we do on our farm. If it wasn't for irrigation, it would be dry land farming, and we wouldn't be able to generate the kind of money that we do, which is good for all of Southern Alberta. Okay, so in 1995, it was mom and dad farming. We owned 6 irrigated quarters of land. If you guys know what irrigated quarter land is, it's all those little circles you see from the airplanes when you fly around. So, and we need a 4-year rotation to grow potatoes. Potatoes is the biggest thing on our farm. So we rented a lot of land and traded land, but to grow to what we were gonna become, we needed to start buying land. So a big milestone was in 1997, we started buying land. We owned 6 quarters for quite some time. And then we started buying land, which was running about $350,000 for a quarter at the time. And now it's close to $1.7 million for that same quarter of land. So in agriculture, for smaller farms to expand now, it's very, very difficult. So, you know, in business, timing is lucky, and we were lucky, but we expanded when we did. Okay, Christine, you go to the next one. Okay, so 2005, we expanded the farm, and now we have 3 families that we need to support off the farm. And my sister, Karen, who's here today also, we bought her out in 1999, so actually the farm had to support four families. So you can see the numbers there. So we went from 6 irrigated quarters to 19 irrigated quarters, and our potato storage grew from 10,000 tons to 15,000 tons. Next one there, Chris. Okay, and to present date, we have 31 quarters of land now, and we're pretty happy. For the 3 families that we are, that's a good, sustainable farm. We don't want to get too much bigger. My dad often says, how much is enough? Like, how big do you want to grow? And this is a good time to spend with our families, right? We have young kids, and so it's a good time to be with families, and this is a nice-sized farm for us. We have 25,000 tons of potato storage now. Our McCain's contract is 9,000 tons, and our Frito-Lay is 13,550 tons, and those are our chips over there. We supply potatoes to Frito-Lay in Tabor, and they supply the whole of Western Canada, so 20% of the time you guys eat chips there will be our potatoes. I was going to say one thing to the first slide there. I had a little bit of the jitters there, now I'm going, but Mom and Dad are in black and white, and I was going to say they're not really that old, but they're grandparents, so we thought better make it black and white, that picture.
Okay, great. Thank you, Harold. So to keep going on, home is Chin, Alberta, so no home like a dome. Potatoes are what we do, and there's a snapshot of us this harvest. So some other things that we do, we have a green pea contract with Bonduelle, who's a big vegetable supplier. So some of the peas you might buy at Safeway or whatever, it could be peas grown in southern Alberta. Sunflowers, so if you're a baseball fan, we love you because you eat spits. Mixed grains and flax we do for some fiber stuff, and canola seed contract with Highmark as well. So with this, it's a big farm, 4,000 irrigated acres, 25,000 ton year-round potato storage. We use a lot of resource to produce the food that we grow on the farm. And we understand very well that we need to be responsible stewards of these resources. So our strategic intent on the farm is to ensure that this farm that we have inherited from Mom and Dad and purchased is in better health going forward for the next generation. So with that, we introduce Grow the Energy Circle. So Grow the Energy Circle is really our family farm sustainability initiative. So we have a bunch of projects that fall under that, and that's what we want to share with you a little bit of today. So Grow the Energy Circle, we came up with the motto on the farm is really to grow, live, be the change. And to explain that a little bit further, grow is part of the logo that's go out and get educated. What is the coolest, most innovative, sustainable technology out there that we can incorporate on our farm to do a better job? The live part of the logo is do it, right? Dave mentioned that earlier. You can sit in a coffee room, and we do that a lot and talk a lot about what we should do. But we have to get it done sometimes. So that is what we're trying to do. Be the change is seed the change. So it's the networking. It's why we're here today, collaborating with the universities and the college, hopefully the future of what agriculture and ag business can be going forward. So networking with great people. Show of hands, how many people have read this book? Okay, some business people in the crowd. Awesome book. Good to great, and good is the enemy of great, and I think that rings so true. And there's just, it's interesting because it's on big public companies, but going through this, I found there was so much overlap with small farms and agriculture as well. So it was fun. We love the hedgehog concept that Jim came up with here, and the BHAG. So for those of you that don't know what a BHAG is, it's a big, hairy, audacious goal. And on the farm, because we're farmers and I'm not a student here, I get to say stuff like it's a big, hairy ass goal, whatever you prefer. What are we deeply passionate about? I think you can hear it. We're passionate about sustainability and leaving the farm for the future generations. Our economic drivers are the inputs, the big resources we use, primarily water, fertilizer, and electricity. What can we be the best in the world at? Growing potatoes. I think we can get there. So in the middle of that, we have a BHAG. First of all, we can also call it something like this. All right. I'll say that, but you know what? That's what agility is doing. It's an interdisciplinary class collaboration to get big picture stuff accomplished. So again, happy to be here. So our BHAG on the farm that we came up with in 2012 was to put this on paper, to have a 2020 vision, and that's reduce our inputs by 20% while increasing the net yields by 20%, and accomplish this all by 2020. So definitely a big, hairy-ass goal, but put it out there and maybe it'll happen. So with that, I'll pass it on to Harold on some of the stuff that he's been working on to accomplish that.
Okay. A journey begins. So in 2006, I was awarded a Nuffield, which one did I push there, Chris, to drop it?
Yeah, you just have to put it there and then push this button.
Okay. Oops, wrong button. There we go. Awarded a Nuffield scholarship. On the scholarship, you have to pick a study topic. Mine was healthier soils for healthier crops for a healthier population. And like Chris has alluded to, that's what we want to do. We want to have healthy soils. We want to leave it better than what we came with. And just try to make, good food is good for everybody, right? If the food tastes better, it actually is better for you. There's more nutrients in the food. So that's what we're trying to accomplish. On my Nuffield travels, there was some world travel. One of my trips was a global focus tour. I traveled with 10 different international Nuffield scholars. And on the global focus tour, the purpose of the trip was to broaden your horizons on knowledge on world ag and trade. So that was quite fun. We went to 7 different countries and 4 different continents in 6 weeks. And that was basically networking. If you get a chance to travel, it's great for networking. For me, in farming, it was a bit of a sabbatical, I would call it, because you get in a routine no matter what it is. I mean, farming is a cyclical job. You have your fall, your spring, your summer, winter work. But it was nice to step back and go on this tour and really study soils deeply, and then meet all these like-minded people in the world. I'm still networking today. We just went down to Montana, and there was 2 guys that we met with. There was only a dozen of us in the room, and both of them were they won the Environmental Award for the National Potato Council in the US, so that was pretty good stuff. Then the other part of my trip, I went with my family, so this was the independent study tour. So Jill and myself and our 3 girls. Let's see, am I on the right one? So that's the group that I went with on our global focus tour. I went back to a fellow's wedding later on. And then Jill and I and the family, we went down, and this was just studying soil. So the South Americans are no-till farmers, so that means they're not tilling the land at all. They direct seed right into it, most of them. So they knew the most about soil health, so that's what took me there. And so yeah, Nuffield also, their motto is we're planting scholars and cultivating leaders. So they're trying to generate leaders in agriculture industry. So I would recommend Nuffield to anybody they'd like to say between 25 and 45. And then it's a pretty big commitment, but it's well worth it if you do that. And on my trip, it was funny, Jill said, I thought I'm at home quite a bit because I'm a farmer. I come home at lunch usually and in the evenings, but she said the way we bonded on that trip for those 3 months was really, really special with our kids. So that was cool. I didn't really think about it, but I was there 24/7 for 3 months, and we got to go on this big adventure. So it was great. I'd recommend traveling with your kids to anybody. Yeah, let's move into it. With Nuffield, it's part of our 2020 goal, and it's ongoing with Nuffield. So the next part of this is some of the stuff that I learned that I would like to share with you guys now. There's more organisms in a tablespoon of healthy soil than people on Earth. So you have a zoo under your feet, and that is the biology that we're trying to work with to help, on our goal there, reduce some pesticides and reduce some fertility. The bugs can supply your fertility, and the bugs can also, I'll just go through this right now. So 1% soil organic matter has nearly 10,000 pounds of carbon in it. Since the beginning of farming, farmland has lost between 1 and 4% organic matter, which, and there's about 3.5 billion acres of cropland on Earth. So if we could get better farming practices, more environmental farming practices, we could probably increase it by 1% organic matter, which if you go with the numbers, roundabout numbers, 70.5 billion tons of CO2 per year we could be putting back into the earth with the natural processes that are happening anyways. Because there's lots of ideas in industry what we can do, but as farmers we can do quite a bit. And carbon is good for the soil. It's a great sequestering option, and all life on Earth is carbon-based, which we all know from our biology classes, right? So we can get the carbon into the soil, increase our biology, we'll have healthier soils. So yeah, the trees, the plants, the more we can have plants growing on the soil, the more carbon they'll be sequestering all the time, and the more they'll be increasing the biology. There's some of the critters that you'd find in a balanced soil. Monocropping, so we do a lot of monocropping now. I don't think there's any way to really get away from it. But, and some of the downfalls of monocropping is you get your disease, all your disease pathogens, right? Because there's only one thing to eat out there. It's potatoes. So if you have potato bugs, there's no competitors. They're just going to eat your potatoes. If you have pathogens, there's only one thing out there. It's just potatoes. Even if you have bare dirt, they're going to go in a dormant stage, and when you plant potatoes again, they're going to eat it again. We have crop rotations, which is helping, but we're still monocropping there. So these are some of the things that we're going to try to do on our farm. Here's another little soil organism. I was thinking, when they say you eat, it's always good to eat a little bit of dirt. Might want to chew it though. And you can get the biology better in your stomachs as well. So the idea is it's a competition for space. So the more biology we can get in our soil, on our plants, the less space there is for pathogens. That's a below and above ground. So no bare soil. We don't have as much bare soil up here because our farming window is pretty short for frost-free days. But whenever we can, if we can get a crop out there, we're putting carbon into the soil. And if we can do diversity crops like the ones shown in the picture here, the plant exudes different exudates, so I don't want to get too scientific or lecture here, but exudates into the soil, so it's always encouraging different biology. The more biology you can get, more balanced biology you can get, it can take care of lots of your pathogens and your diseases and even your insects. So when we spray insecticides, we're killing lots of our parasitic insects that are helping us. So one of the interesting things they're working with is flowering strips, which the parasitic insects really like. So it would be good for society too. You drive around the countryside and here's these nice little flower strips growing, and they're going to bring our beneficial insects in to eat, say the aphids. I mean, they're always going to be there, but we want to keep them in balance, right? It's all about balance. Fertility, so legume plants fix nitrogen from the atmosphere and put it out to the soil. The better and more diverse biology you have in the soil, your big organisms are eating your little ones, and then they're pooping out fertilizer, right? And that's a stable form of fertilizer for your plants, so that'll reduce our fertilizer inputs. Compost and compost teas, the same thing, we're introducing biology. It's the natural cycle of the way things work, right? Buffalo pooped on the soil and the grass grew, and so it just keeps going. So we're doing that, getting our manure from the feedlots. And then the compost tea, we're going to try to spray the tops. We haven't done that yet, but we're going to get more serious about that this year. It's been around for a long time, but same thing, we're going to populate our leaves with beneficial organisms, so hopefully there's no room for the bad ones to come and land. And so we fall ridge for our potatoes. We're going to plant those potatoes in those bare dirt ridges. That's the way we're doing it now. We want to get to where we have a cover crop on there in the fall. So then we'll power hill that all in, and we'll have a nice green mulch and get the biology to explode in the soil. Hopefully it'll take care of lots of our pathogens. And Dave wanted me to talk about that exhaust thing up there. So we have been collaborating with a fellow, Gary Lewis, who takes exhaust from your tractor and puts it into the soil. So it's like a little mobile fertilizer tank moving across your fields. So we're doing that right now. That's a different way to sequester your exhaust. So yeah, just pumps it from the exhaust right down, and then some pipes there.
The crew calls it the smoke duster.
And Chris said we try not to do just all talk in our coffee room. We try to do things. Sometimes our crew's like, whoa, they want to grab the reins. Whoa, boy. Because they're the ones that physically do it.
Okay, right on. Thank you, Harold. So Harold talks about aerobic a lot, and I talk about anaerobic a lot. So we'll dip into that side of things. So thank you, Harold. People are asking where are our roles, and Harold's definitely right now more the farmer. I'm leaning more towards the business energy side, but the farming is still where the heart is for sure. So quickly talk about some of the Vision 2020 stuff. Energy efficiency. I mean, 10 years ago we've taken 400 horsepower sort of electricity for irrigation and quartered that with low pressure systems and stuff like that. Everybody can do a little bit better going forward. So we've definitely invested heavily in that technology. That's why Dave invited us to his own demise on Every Drop Counts, but another day. If you ever get a moment where you really want to do something special and take some time to watch Every Drop Counts, you can skip over that farmer section, please. We've installed 40 tons of geothermal capacity on our farm that is heating and cooling our potato storages. So just much more energy efficient than the traditional methods. So, and produces a better product in the end. So we've also installed 20 kilowatts of solar, energy smart. Rudy always likes me to put a little plug in for him, but he's done some good stuff in the community, and we've worked with him on both the solar and the geothermal. So if you guys know Rudy, he's a very good salesman. And I have one of his hot tubs too.
Me too.
He says, I'll give you a break-even price on the solar, but that hot tub is going to cost you $150,000. Okay, so the big project I personally, I've loved renewable energy and look at the best way to do it. So we're looking at ways to incorporate more on our farm because we use a ton of electricity. Irrigation and potato storages, we use energy all year round. We throw away a lot of potatoes. So to make those gorgeous potato chips that you guys have hopefully had some of, we throw away a lot of potatoes to get a quality product for Frito-Lay. If we don't do that, they don't buy them. So it's a consumer preference thing. And with that, we thought we can do better. So here's just last month, Minister Carrier and our MLA Maria came out to visit us, and behind them is a big pile of cull potatoes. So the potatoes that our lovely volleyball volunteers are throwing out right here are making that pile of potatoes, and what can we do better with those potatoes? So let's build a biogas plant. So back in 2004, we thought that was a really good idea. Smoking something funny, I think. But, so to give you an idea, we were looking at renewables and we came across a concept of a biogas plant, thought that's the fit, right? That makes the most sense of anything I can possibly imagine on incorporating into our farm. So the way it really works is, for those of you that may not know, we take our cull potatoes. So the cull potatoes, the waste product that we're throwing out from our farm, we take manure from neighbors. So we don't do a lot of livestock, but man, there's a lot of manure around when you start looking. So we have lots of neighbors with manure and other agricultural waste products. So Gal quality onions, they supply all the white onions in southern Alberta. They can't even do anything with their onions, so they've been landfilling. They're coming to us now. It goes into anaerobic digester, which is the biogas plant. They're the same thing. It's an industrial stomach. Okay, so it takes food, it takes organics, and compost is aerobically digesting organics. The anaerobic digester just does it in an environment with no oxygen. So the benefit of that is it's actually a greenhouse gas efficient machine. There's the same bacteria, some of the ones that Harold showed you in there, but they're anaerobic. They eat the organics and poop out methane. So we siphon that methane off the top of the biogas plant, and it goes in to run an engine. And that engine feeds the Alberta electricity grid. So, and the resulting effluent coming out of the digester is now pathogen-free. It doesn't stink as bad. It's more stable nutrient. All the off-gassing potential is out of it, and it is a great fertilizer to go back on the field. So we've incorporated that into our farming practice to reduce our synthetic fertilizer requirements. So back to the farm, so hence the Grow the Energy circle. It's a nice combined circle at the end of the day. So benefits, I'll go through this pretty quick. Reduce landfill waste. We do target organics that are going to landfill. I mean, if you live in Lethbridge, you've heard the news and the stuff about organics in a landfill. Greenhouse gas emissions are It's the biggest, our landfill in Lethbridge is the biggest greenhouse gas contributor from Lethbridge because we all throw away our rotten tomatoes and they go to landfill and they release, and they could be providing nutrient for the farms. Reduce spreading of raw manure. We love fall around southern Alberta because it smells so great when the wind is blowing the right way. It does kill all the pathogens and disease. So to Harold's point on how do you help limit that? Well, we can run that through and limit disease that's re-inoculating the field. It's a clean, true green electric power, renewable energy. Better than sun and wind because it's a 24/7. We don't really shut this guy off or it doesn't work. So we have a letter of support from Fortis Alberta, which is not an easy thing to do, to say we love biogas. And that's pretty cool. They will not get that. They will not give that to a wind guy or a sun guy, I'm sorry. But so that's pretty awesome. And lots of greenhouse gas reductions out of this plant. So, so today we have a biogas plant. And with that, we commissioned that last year, about the same time as we're sitting in this room. Since then, we've processed over 12,000 tons of organic waste and manure. We have produced over 2,000 megawatt hours of electricity. So this is over double what our entire farm uses. So we've produced that much electricity off of cow shit, rotten potatoes, rotten onions, and a bunch of actually grocery organics. So again, excuse the farmer in the crowd. I tend to go off on that because it's what we do out there. And we've reduced 10,000 tons of stuff. So I'll jump fast forward to another piece. So really that's the electricity front. When we talk about reducing inputs by 20% on electricity, we've 20-folded that, which we're pretty proud of. The economics are not the same scenario on that. So for those business people in the crowd, you can ask me those questions offline after the presentation. All right. A picture, so shifting into some of the precision agriculture work again, working very closely with Jeff Branch of Sunrise Ag, and it's a pretty cool thing. So this is, I know there's some precision ag people in the room, so this is our little piece of a niche of what we were really going after. So a picture tells 1,000 words, and today with remote sensing, satellite imagery, planes flying overhead, we can use those images to produce millions and millions of data points. And everybody loves data these days, right? Agriculture is no different. And the cool thing is that we have an application for really working through this. With this, we can, in real time, understand the health, growth, water, nutrient requirements of the crop in real time. So not just on a base, put out some fertilizer variable rate at the start of the year. We actually do it in real time, monitoring week to week what we're doing. And I'll get into a little bit of detail, not too much, but we have the technology, we have variable rate equipment, we have variable rate irrigation equipment to apply the water and nutrient in season, and we have the remote sensing capacity. We also have the cyber infrastructure, and in Alberta, I will say we are very positioned to lead responsible resource management in agriculture. I think we're doing that already with outfits like Sunrise Ag, like Farmer's Edge in town, some of the programs that are coming out of the university here. So we have all the tools that we need to really do a better job of utilizing resources in agriculture. And I think that's a real opportunity. And I would preach to the people, the students in the crowd in this agility program that there's some cool stuff out there. So quickly, our little data-driven agriculture, Mr. Jeff Branch has a cute little Kubota tractor. He's a big man sitting in a little tractor. It's pretty funny because we have some little guys sitting in really big tractors. So we joke about that. But he goes through with a Veris machine, which is a fancy machine that will zone out fields. So we basically take a field and we break it into a whole bunch of data points. For those of you that have seen precision ag stuff, it's nothing new. Really saying from this, we get layers and layers of information from this machine running through the field. So fertility, topography, depressions, we work out everything that we need to. So planting that crop, we have a really good idea, almost kind of meter by meter, what's in that field and what we need to do. So we variable apply our nutrient going into the crop to try to keep it fairly consistent to grow a quality crop like potato chips. And then we get into remote sensing. So through the year, what we'll do is we monitor every week the growth pattern. So we actually analyze how are those potato plants growing in different areas of the field. And if they aren't growing the same, right, and here's the crazy stuff we do that Dave talks about, we're the first paying customers of many people. And these guys are no different. This was fun, this was a drone. People used to love this, by the way, when I did this first presentation in 2013, I think this video's from. And people are like, whoa. And now he's like, that is pretty boring. Really, that's no big deal. So that's the only little video I had because I don't like filling it up. But sub-inch sort of remote sensing capacity. So at the end of the day with that drone, we can build an image like that. That's a potato circle that we had back in 2012. And basically tell different growth patterns in the field from one week to the next. And with our variable irrigation systems now, we can control every sprinkler on that machine. So there's 144 sprinklers going around, and we take each one of those to apply different water and nutrient through the gig. So really complicated system. At the end of the day, it's working towards an application where we can do much better with our resources in agriculture. So understanding the production, at the end of the day, it's take each acre, take each pixel of a field, and understand the inputs that you're putting in, what your cost is, and not just a cost monetarily, but a cost environmentally with your resource. Understand that you produce now a net yield coming off of that crop. So turn this circle into an economic map so that actually you look at $1 per pixel of inputs less your gross yield, that your net yield that you're actually selling to a customer. This is aligned very closely with our customers. This is a digital defect. This is a potato chip, by the way. Okay, so those potato chips, every one of those potato chips that has come out of Tabor Frito-Lay has been looked at, taken a picture of, and we're actually graded on every potato chip that goes through there now. They look for defects in a crazy amount. They understand exactly what us, the customer, because I'm a big potato chip eater, wants in that bag of potato chips. So they computer references, and they're after the same thing that we are. They want to reduce crop inputs by 20% at an ag basis, and they want to increase their net payables by 25%. And that gets done by understanding exactly what they want in the bag. And because our vision really aligns so closely, I've done a presentation at PepsiCo North America, so down in Dallas, where they liked it. And like Dave mentioned, they've invited me to Paris. I'm like, sweet, that's cool. I'll go do that. But no, it really does. In the big picture, they don't pay us a cent more for anything that we're doing. They love the story. They love marketing the story, right? And it's a consumer gig. And at the same time, it's a ripple effect for bigger things to come, I think. And getting this support as a strategic partner or a supplier of somebody that's going to renew your contract, it's a good play for the future. So with that, I get some fancy graphics in here. That's where we're at with this. So data-driven agriculture in a nutshell, contributing really to what our 2020 vision is. So with that, I'll pass it back to Harold on some of our future thoughts.
Okay. Yeah. When they invited Chris to Paris, I guess they were sitting around a table at Frito-Lay, and they said, well, we need a grower to represent PepsiCo at these environmental climate change talks. One guy said, well, it's got to be Chris Perry, doesn't it? So that's how they selected him to go on the growers thing, so that was great. And then our anaerobic digester, it's funny, we used to sit around with the accountants and talk about tax planning, but now there's no taxes, so there's no planning, so we don't have to worry about that part anymore. Yeah, this is just some ideas we have for the future. I've had this idea. This is a good place to be presenting at Agility because I'm looking for partnerships to build these things to move forward. They have them small scale for orchards and stuff. They're steam sprayers. So on our digester, we get enough heat off that engine to heat that whole facility. So they put a jacket on top of the engine. So I thought we have our tractors, if they could jacket my tractor and I could use the exhaust to blow steam out the back end, then I could use that for burn off for crops and stuff. So that'd be a way to reduce our pesticide use and kill the weeds at the same time.
So that's smoke duster number 2.
And if you're hungry, you could always steam some vegetables at lunchtime out there. This is another thing that we talked about, getting the organics out of the landfills. So looking to lobby or work with somebody in the government to institute some policy for some mandatory biodegradable packaging for all perishable food products. If we get that, then, if we see all the garbage in the compost we'd want to take, we wouldn't be that concerned about it if we know it's all going to be biodegradable. You'd still want to be cautious because that's our land and that's how we're growing food for everybody, right? So we're very cautious on that. that point. It'd be a good money maker for our digester because of the tipping fees. We could actually turn around and start making money. But we're not ready to take the plunge and contaminate our soil right now.
So just to clarify, is because Harold's talking about taking the organics that are going into a landfill out of the landfill. Great concept. It's the road we want to go. Not so easy because we have to educate people on how important it is that it's clean organics. That's a very different discussion. So right now we can't do it. Because as a customer, like McCain's, they don't want us applying anything coming out of a landfill because of potential contamination. So it's a thought towards making sure that that's all clean organics that you can actually utilize back on the farm. So it's a big step in the system, big gap, but it's the real opportunity going forward too.
Yeah, so the clean organics from landfill going into our digester, creating the gas that we need to produce electricity, and then take our digestate from that and put it back on our land. That would be a great scenario. We can put it through the irrigation water as well. And so our current healthy farmland is what we have. And this is just a picture I took off the internet, but I've seen lots of contaminated soils out there, so it's a bit scary, especially with potato processing. The potatoes grow in the ground, they don't grow above the ground, so we can get glass and stuff in there. So we can't touch that right now. So if we can educate and get biodegradable stuff, we can start using it. And so it's a win-win for the environment because we're not having all those greenhouse gases go out of landfills. The landfills will last longer because they're not going to fill up with organics. The farmers can be happy because they have a good product to put on their farms. Municipalities have a good story, and the consumers of food will be good to go. What's your thoughts, Chris?
Okay, you bet. Thank you. Okay, so we're getting close to wrapping up here. Future thoughts, a little bit crazy. I've told this joke before, but somebody told me I was delusional and I almost fell off my unicorn. The anaerobic digester, like I mentioned, the economics tough. It's a tough go right now. They've come up with some good policy yesterday on what this is. We've been preaching to the government for a long time, and I'm excited about the renewable potential in that. I'm worried because there's nothing in there on bioenergy, and I think it's a balanced approach going forward. So I hope there's some good news to come in that sense. Regardless, right now we're competing with electricity against coal. It's not going to happen. We're competing against even stuff like wind and natural gas. We can't do that doing what we're doing, and there's no programs that really recognize the benefits from a holistic point of view of what we're there doing. So, still a farmer, can justify anything. Heck yeah. So a desire to still make this thing work. And so to do that, you have to think long term. You have to think, we've had a tough go here this year. Literally, we're losing about $250,000 on running this biogas plant this year. So don't tell my banker, I'm pretty sure she's not in the room. But it's all good because going forward, we have a real potential for industrial symbiosis. So like Nemo here, this biogas plant on its own would not survive. So we have to look at a bigger picture. So an automatic is co-locating a greenhouse or a vertical farm system that we are in discussions with both co-locating, and we have residual resources out of the biogas plant. So we do have extra heat. All the heat there, like Harold mentioned, we water jacket the electricity from the engine. It's combined heat power. We have enough to supply residual heat to something like a greenhouse. We have the carbon dioxide, which is clean, coming off of the engine that they can feed. And then also we have water and digestate, what they call the fertilizer that's there to utilize in a greenhouse. You can take the recycled biomass back into the digester. There's some exciting stuff as well that we are a base load renewable power. So when you talk about people that are buying power that want a marketing advantage, you can go to hydro, and that's awesome because you have 24/7 power on a hydro dam, most of them. Maybe not the ones in the irrigation running right now. You don't have that with wind, you don't have that with sun. With biogas, you do. So we are looking at attracting or co-locating behind the fence, so to speak, with electricity on somebody that can use and market that power and pay us more than what we're getting paid for today. So some of the things that come up is it's in our backyard and it has to be important to us. So we like advocating for agriculture, and value add in agriculture in southern Alberta specifically includes this, and it's fiber. potential in Alberta. So biomaterials, so there's a lot of hemp, industrial hemp growing in Alberta, and flax. So you can take these products and use them in the industry going forward. So working with, right now, 3 different companies that are interested in co-locating. One's just biofiber. They're mixing lime with hemp hurd and building a Lego block that you build houses out of. Very cool. Sequesters a bunch of carbon. They have demand. The thing about these companies, they all have demand coming out the yin-yang. They just are challenged getting the product to market right now. This is built up at Alberta Environment, or Alberta Innovates, a friend of mine. So this is a flax and hemp mixed car door panel. They're using a lot of it in the Tesla, bioplastics. And I see that one of the sons is in the yard, but here's us actually at Rod Lanier's place and involved with Athena Bioplastics, which is pretty exciting. Mixing resin and hemp fiber to produce bioplastic pellets. So lots of demand again for that stuff, and anything you see plastic. So hoping that can make a go. So, you know, something coming to town in Lethbridge that's really exciting, up and coming, and lots of opportunity. Again, when you do something like this, 1/3 of that product is dust, and it's a waste. So that can actually go back into the biogas plant, feed the biogas plant, end up with the organics back on the land, and get some energy out of it while you're doing it. The other one is data. I'm going to go through this a little bit faster, but what would farmers do with the data center? I think I tried to show you a little bit earlier. There's a ton of potential. And data is one of the fastest growing sources of wealth on the planet. What you don't probably know is it's also one of the fastest growing greenhouse gas emitters on the planet. So it's a huge deal. There's a lot of marketing going on around it. And it's bigger than the international airline industry, significantly. So, you know, to understand the scope of what that means. So a data center sitting on a biogas plant is really cool. And it works. It makes sense. And there's a ton of reasons why fiber optics, fast speed, and data capacity in agriculture is awesome. And we have the ability to do that within southern Alberta. Guys like Farmers Edge, we have Blackridge, we have, you know, Cybera that's running the SuperNet that's coming into this building. And, you know, we want to advocate for getting that out to the farm and seeing what entrepreneurs can come once they have the ability to process stuff like drone imagery and what can you actually do with it moving forward. So tremendous opportunity around that. James Van Leeuwen, he's a friend of mine, he's been advocating this. He came to our open house, in 2006 and said, you guys need a data center. I thought, what are you talking about? No idea. And he said, picture, man, it's picture, putting ICT to use in rural economics. And I'm a believer. I think it's got some opportunity. So industrial symbiosis all over the place. So we can do all of this within a sort of what we call a biocluster. And just it's rural economic development. It's value add. It can attract the youth, and I hope the students around that are getting educated at this fantastic facility in Lethbridge for some real ability to come back and be involved in agriculture in southern Alberta to help us be the leaders that we can be going forward. And really, this is just grow tech. It's kind of an evolution, and these are the visions long term that we're looking at. So we develop it. We bring in a greenhouse. We bring in the data center hub, hopefully attract some precision ag companies to grow and incubate out of here. And I want to say thoughts are things. This image on the left was a nephew of mine, of my wife's actually, that did an architectural drawing for us of this back in 2007, I believe. And today, here we are. It's happening. So a lot of persistence, a lot of stubbornness, a lot of stupidity, and keep at it, and good things can happen. So with that, I'll say there's lots of collaborators on how we've gotten there. The climate change, we did get funded. We got half of the capital up front, which was a really big deal. Crappy part was we had to pay for the other half. But really, this is the whole Vision 2020 is about going forward. It's about the next gen, and in light of the COP21 coming up in Paris here this week, I think it's pretty awesome to be a part of it and caring. So that's what this is about. And with that, I thank you very much, and Harold, for being here. It's been fun presenting with Harold. This is the first time we've ever done something like this together. So thank you, and very open to questions or any discussion.